Tonight, on a very special episode of Animation Triad, we come to our 4 hosts, and they try to wonder, what is the point? What we talk about? Find out.
Hello, and welcome to Animation Triad. As usual, I'm your host, Stu, and with me, per usual...
Wish.
I'm so lost.
Aaron. His name is Aaron. Your name is Aaron.
He's still recovering,
Okay.
folks. It's okay. Here. Hit this. It will help. It will help with the film, too. Trust me.
None of us watched this right.
No, we watched
I did not
it
watch
sober.
this film right.
And,
Oh, of course, this is Doug again.
the hubster.
The one responsible for us.
The one responsible for this madness.
Why would you do this to me?
Why would you do this to all of us?
I have a bit of a sadist, kicking me, so...
It's why I like it.
He grew up watching it, and you know what? So did I. I actually seen this before. I actually had it on VHS. Yep.
I watched this probably in the 80s, which, it came out in 1971, so I didn't quite watch it on the original broadcast, but I loved this as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, I was on Ritalin back then, if maybe that enhanced it somehow. I don't know exactly. Looking back at it, it hasn't aged well.
No, but what are we talking about, folks? Well, today we are talking about The Point.
It took us a long time to get to the point, actually, to
I'm
let
still
you know
lost.
that it was the point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, The Point.
It didn't age well in all aspects, but in some aspects it did. Okay? Granted, it had that cheesy 70s animation.
Yeah.
So it looked like Schoolhouse Rock, but without the cool music telling you that a bill is just a bill.
What's my function?
Yeah. Conjunction.
Yeah.
Right,
But-
that too.
Interestingly enough, though, this is by the same people who did the same artist who did the Tootsie Roll commercials. How many licks does it take to get licked? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
As we
Get
all
licked.
find out soon.
It's the
Not
bonus
safe for
features.
work. Yeah, but I mean, parts of the story aged well. In the beginning, after you get past the cheesy narration and you get into the actual story of what Oblio goes through, I found that pretty entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't until he actually went into the forest that I wondered if I was tripping balls while I'm stone sober.
You were still
And
sober, brother?
Then you found out you
I
were
was
tripping balls.
sober!
I was out of wine and brandy
I
at the
was
time.
sober.
So, yeah.
I had nothing. I watched this.
I was not watching this film right.
None of us
None of
were.
us were. Hence that.
None of us
Yeah.
were.
Oh, God. This film... Well, let's give you a little background about this. The Point, all right? Does it have a point?
Yes.
Debatable. Yes, but actually, yes,
Yes.
it does have a point. And the point is it was based off a studio album by Harry Nilsson and was released in 1971. This film was released for an ABC family, not ABC family, but ABC television movie night, basically. So it was basically showed once. Now, in the original version of it, it was narrated by Dustin Hoffman. So this would have been Dustin Hoffman right around the time of, I want to say...
Tootsie, maybe?
Tootsie? No, I thought Tootsie was later.
Confused they are, but they will find out that the point really comes to fruition. Why?
Again, I'm too sober for this.
Yes. We're too sober for this
Who
review.
is that person talking to us?
Who's talking? What is the... This...
This is weird.
Oh, God.
You know
This
what?
is... Oh, God. Oh, God.
I'm not watching this film right.
Where is this voice coming from and who is it? I'm confused. I'm scared.
I think it's
This
the
is
point
some
of
Mouths
man.
of Madness
Okay,
shit.
again, I'd like to point out I'm completely sober, no drugs, I didn't even look at that. Okay?
There's nothing in this. It's a prop, folks.
You failed me.
Wait a minute. You heard it too, though, right? You heard it
You're
too.
listening to this too, folks, right? This is...
You didn't hear it, did you?
God. Is that you? It's me,
Oh.
Stuart.
Margaret.
Stewart,
Oh,
Stewart,
that's not my name.
don't you have a review to continue on?
You're right.
That is seriously creeping
Okay,
me out.
we gotta continue this. All right.
Back to the point.
All right. The point, yes. Okay, so this was originally narrated by Dustin Hoffman, as I said, and he made an agreement to do it for $20,000
I would.
because he was friends with the director.
I would.
And the agreement was that they could only use his voice performance once. So it was later re-showed in the 80s, which is probably what you saw.
Yep.
And it was narrated by Alan Thicke from Growing Pains.
That bastard.
Why? Why is he a bastard?
Why would anyone do this film?
Well, the version we saw, and the version for home release, and the most available one, was narrated by Ringo Starr of the Beatles, giving...
An even trippier
Harry
feel, in my
Nilsson.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry Nilsson actually was considered the fifth Beatle.
Mm.
So he actually had strong ties with all of the Beatles, and Ringo Starr agreed to do it because basically they were all friends.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, and truthfully, I think Ringo Starr being a part of it does add a certain extra trippiness.
Oh, definitely, because I'm going to
Yeah.
say this. I was having flashbacks to bloody Yellow Submarine.
Yes.
Yeah, you can definitely see some of that. But yeah, with the rest of... Well, let's talk about the plot, all right? So...
There was a plot.
There was a
There
plot,
was.
yes.
There was a plot.
The narration,
There was a plot.
I want to point this out because as I was rewatching this for the first time in probably, I don't know, 25, 30 years almost,
About 20 for me, I'd say.
you could almost make the argument, even though I found the narrative device grating and annoying, it somewhat might have inspired The Princess Bride.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I watched it too.
I could see that. I mean,
Only
the
I
movie
think they
version,
did it
the book
better.
is has a very different narration setup for
I
it.
think The Princess Bride did it better though.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like,
They
who-
perfected it. But
Who wore it better? Yeah.
I don't,
Columbo.
I don't
That's
think there's
who.
any question about that.
Because I honestly cannot remember the actor's name. I just know him as Columbo and Grandpa from...
Yeah.
Are you all so
Fuck.
high up that you
Fuck.
forgot about the tangent jar?
Oh, okay, yeah, tangents. Okay, we're back pay. I'm doing some back pay
I
on
had
that
one
one.
on that one.
We all do this. That's the thing. The plot for this film is just all over the place in a way, but at the same time, it's not. Because
You just accepted the voice as normal.
I'm gonna have to. To question it otherwise will lead to insanity.
Plot. I'm a little worried we might get shocked right now.
I am not in this plane right now.
None of us are. Please, please, please.
Okay, so let's continue with this.
I'm a little scared of the voice.
Yes, we
Yeah.
all should be.
Yeah, we all should be. We're not. Continue.
Okay, so the plot. In a
Right.
world filled with points,
In a world.
actual points, like this, everything has a point.
Like Poke
Literally.
points.
Everybody's heads have points. Everything has a
This
point.
is-
Yes.
They only accept art that has points.
Can we also address that they're all orange?
Except
they
for
were
the count.
yeah,
And-
The
or
count was purple.
Oh, or
right
the
away,
king who was
Julio
white.
was
yeah,
white.
right away
Yeah.
you could tell he was an asshole because he was purple.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
could-
also,
About
the king,
About that.
he looked just like the Ice King.
Oh my god,
Did
you're
anyone
right.
see that? The king, okay, I gotta pay for this. I'm paying for
Why? We're talking about the show. the
True, I'm
movie.
going a little off topic with the Ice King, though. He looked just like the Ice King, except not as long of a nose.
And not as evil.
No, true. Well, Simon, we all gotta feel sorry for him.
God,
But yeah. So,
Not all.
basically, everyone's born with a pointy head. They look like a bunch of cone heads.
That's
Except for
exactly
one
what
boy,
Oblio.
Oblio.
He has a round head.
Yeah.
What kind of name is Oblio?
It denotes his roundness. Oblio.
Yep.
Like,
I did not watch this film right.
No. But here's an interesting little tidbit. Oblio was voiced by Mike Lockland, who is famous for playing Bobby Brady from the Brady Bunch. So yeah, there's an interesting
Interesting.
connection.
So Bobby Brady had a stash or something on the show.
It was the
and-
70s, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I mean, there's this a very special episode of the Brady Bunch.
I don't think you could
Stay
chalk this one
tuned.
up to pot. I'm thinking you chalk this
We only
up to
do
something
animation.
stronger.
Much stronger. I'm thinking hash.
And in fact, I think you have a point on that.
I have a point to that, but we will get to that when the point comes.
Indeed.
When we get to that point, we'll talk about that point.
So back to the point of the point.
I'm still finding the point.
Meta
Also,
points.
if you're watching this, great drinking game. Every time we say point.
Please don't do that. You'll die of alcohol poisoning.
And I'll be the jerk that just says it repeatedly for 10 minutes.
We will.
He really would. Like he said, he's a sadist.
Yes.
So, anyway, the point of the point, or rather the plot of the point.
You're killing
In this, I know. I too am sadistic. You're
We
welcome.
all are.
So anyway, this entire town full of coneheads and pointy people, pointy, don't drink to that. They generally actually accept Oblio in the beginning for him being different. They think he's a little weird, they think he's, a little deformed, whatever, but they're generally cool with him.
They're accepting for the most part.
Until the Count's son is playing a game with Oblio, and Oblio is actually better at it than he is. Well, this is not okay. So he goes, he whines to Daddy. Daddy's like, okay, no one should be better than you. We're going to get this kid banished, all right? So that's exactly what he goes and does. He appeals to the king. He's like, we need to banish this guy. He is an outlaw. He is round, and we are not, and that is a crime.
And it is a crime because they're saying that everything must have a point. It's the law.
Law of the land.
Law of the land is
But they're
everything
taking
must
it
have a
too
point.
literally, as we find out.
Mm-hmm.
So, the king is like, man, I don't know, he's such a good boy, kind of thing. And then, the king has no spine.
None.
No.
So he's
Nor do any of the
eventually,
adults in this entire thing.
nobody, not even the parents.
The parents don't even show up for the trial.
Parents.
Where were they? Seriously, it makes no sense. Your kid's on trial, about to be basically excommunicated and banished from the
Exile.
city.
Parents of the year, folks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, by
Even
the way.
better than Charlie Brown's parents.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
The
Listen,
dad,
don't
I gotta
say.
say this because I found this interesting when researching this. The dad, Oblio's father, was voiced by
What's that word?
Paul Frees.
Paul Frees, who is known as the man of 1,000 voices. He has done so much voice work you could.
More than Mel Blanc or Jim Cummings?
Back in the day, voice
Okay,
work. Let's put it that way.
gotcha, all right.
But he's most famous probably for playing Boris from.
Boris!
Yes, Moose and Squirrel.
Yes.
Rocky and Bullwinkle, folks.
Yes!
Yes.
Don't you love connections?
And didn't you think the Count was evil? Wasn't he just horrible?
He was purple.
He
I
was
didn't
purple,
like
yes.
him.
Yeah.
He was
He knew
purple.
he-
And you want to know why?
Purple.
You want to know why he didn't
There's
like him on a
something over it.
subconscious level? Because his voice actor, Lenny Rern.
Oh my god, what?
Wine
How much
rib?
did you take?
Oh, you don't want to know how much voice.
Wine rib?
Wine rib. We'll go with wine
Yeah,
rib.
let's go with wine rib.
There's that voice again.
Was the original voice for Scrappy Doo.
Oh yeah, I didn't like Scrappy.
The worst,
Nobody.
the worst character on
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
That would be why.
Though oddly enough, he was also Hank. Oh no, Hunk. And was it Hank or Hunk? Hunk. Yeah, he was Hunk and Prince Lotar from the original Voltron.
Well, hot damn.
I mean, that's
There's
redeeming.
so
I mean,
bad.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I mean, okay, that's great. He's a man of 1,000 voices, but he's playing a bad guy in this. So, kudos to him, but I don't like the guy that he's playing.
No. His son was a little shit too.
Kind of bad, but the apple doesn't fall
Far from the tree.
Yeah,
Funnily enough.
the pointed tree.
Funnily enough, though, he was voiced by the son. The Count's son was voiced by Buddy Foster.
I don't know who that is.
He is the brother of Jodie Foster,
Ah.
and he was the voice of the little kid from the Tootsie Roll commercial that we referenced earlier.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Connect-
Blows your mind. Now take some pot.
How many
Should we
licks
listen
does
to
it
that
take?
one? Should we listen to that voice?
Wait, I don't even know what he said.
Okay.
I'm
What?
taking it in.
Okay, take it in.
Okay,
Puff,
okay.
puff, pass, remember.
Is everybody else doing it?
Y'all not?
Well, I was going to say, if everybody else is doing it, I have to, right?
Yeah. Alright, so he gets kicked out banished with his little dog too.
His little dog, too,
Arrow.
as a conspirator,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly.
I'm
It's
having-
a fucking dog, you asshats.
But the parents weren't blamed.
Not at
parents
all.
were-
Yeah.
In fact, they didn't even really say,
It's-
"Oh no, it's okay, Oblio. I'm not going to let you go out in the pointless forest alone. and
Yeah.
Parents of the year.
I'll go with you." They're like, "Oh well."
What's
Here's
weird-
$5. Go out. Good luck. You're a
What's-
smart kid.
yeah.
You'll be fine. You might have to do some things you never thought you'd have to do, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so worried for Oblio. Oh, I'm sure it'll
Didn't
be
stop.
okay.
Yeah.
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 Oh, parents of
like-
the year.
Beyond them being parents of the year, okay, I get it. They're all like products of their society and all
Mhm.
these social implications, and basically they have no spine because the monarchy or whatever.
Mm.
But beyond that, I'm surprised that they would incriminate a child and a dog for being what they are and apparently being friends with what they are, but not incriminate the parents for producing.
Mm.
It just, there's a complete logical fallacy, but whatever. He goes to the forest,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when shit gets really trippy.
That's when the pop brownies hit the fan.
So the entire forest scene, which is something I didn't realize as a kid,
It's
it all
so
takes place
long.
over a 24-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
It takes like 20
he returns
years
the next
in my
day,
mind.
basically.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it seemed like he was out there, you know,
Much longer.
Yeah, he was going to return with the beard, basically, by
yeah.
the time he got back.
I grew
But it was
a
all
beard.
supposed to take 24 hours.
Yeah.
He shaved very well, though. We'll
Thank
say
you.
that. Yeah.
I was not watching this film right.
Anyway, so you were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so it takes place over 24 hours, and in that 24 hours, he meets something like, I think he had maybe 7 or 8 different groups of characters that he meets along the way.
Okay, so he's
Yeah.
first introduced to the pointless man
Pointless.
yes.
with the 3
Which,
faces
strangely
with
enough,
points
he
everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how can he be pointless?
Because,
Anyway.
and I actually really enjoyed this quote from him. Is like, if you point in every direction, you have no point at all.
It is true.
Which is very true. There are
Yeah.
some moments in this film which they have some really interesting logical questions to them, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed some of it. And it was really
It's
interesting to
noticing.
read about that.
Parts of it did age pretty well.
I kind of wonder how much of it is dated. You know, maybe it made a whole lot more sense before the era of CG and things like that, and also set against the backdrop of the 70s, which, as most people who lived through that era, which I did not through most of it.
I guess you're missing the point here. That you're not
He's
supposed to
There
still
was a
learn
big
about the
time
point.
drug culture going on.
Yeah.
So
Well-
it helps to understand it a little bit, you know.
I think one thing that didn't really help was all the random musical interludes, which didn't really fit with anything. Just
I think
him
some
coming
of
in
it
and
did.
out
I
of
love that music.
The music's
honestly.
good.
I love
It
that
was so
music, but I do
sleepy.
agree. It
It was
actually,
so sleepy.
when I was a kid, for
Yeah.
some reason, it seemed like it fit, and that actually introduced me to the music
Mhm.
of Harry Nilsson.
I know, I will say
He's
this. He's
one
a,
of my favorite singers of all
he is
time.
a great singer, and I will
Yeah.
say that. The music is really good, but well, some of it. I actually. I mean,
I went
the
through it in and
standout
out.
song from this
Right.
apparently was Me and My Arrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
Okay.
I actually preferred the other one. Are you sleeping?
Yeah.
Can you? I like
Yeah.
that one the best.
That one's
actually.
good as
That was
well.
creepy.
That was kind of.
It was creepy.
It was,
But that's
in a
what
way.
made it good.
But it's just the montage they set it to didn't seem to fit in the film. It fit for the song.
Some of it fit within the context of the film, but I would have liked to have felt differences in energy. And
Yeah.
all of the songs just created the same sleepy energy all around. So like when there wasn't music and they're like, "Oh, Leo must be banished," I'm like, now we're getting somewhere.
That's where you wanted to hear his
And
later
then-
hit, "Fuck You."
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, you know,
Yes,
give you some
but
energy
like-
here, you know.
But like I would have liked a couple of more up-tempo songs just to kind of buffer some of the slower songs, but every single song was slow, and these really, really long forest montages with weird trippy shit and
Kind of dreamlike in its
Yeah.
own way, which leads to an
dreamlike,
interesting
but
thing.
sleepy.
Here's the thing, though. The framework for this is it's a father reading a book to his child, trying to help him sleep.
Yeah,
So in a way, that makes sense.
it does, but it was
That's the
also
child
making
imagining
me
everything.
sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
So.
was also making me sleep, and that's
Yeah.
not okay.
I needed my green tambourine.
Hmm.
Or your yellow submarine.
Oh.
I just
better
needed.
stop this right.
I just needed booze. That would have made me happier for this
Yeah.
film.
So he then after the Pointless Man, he runs into some bees.
Yep.
The size of basically a truck.
Which looked more like mosquitoes.
They
if I'm
did.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very
They had
weird
They
this
bulbous
really did
bodies.
look like
yeah.
mosquitoes. Yeah.
Yeah, because most bees have a stinger in the back, not the front. So
Yeah.
they were basically giant mosquitoes, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he runs into the Rock Man.
It was probably
Rockman
my
was
favorite
cool.
character.
He was.
of
He
the
was
whole
actually
thing,
really cool.
Actually.
Funny thing is, that was that voice actor's first role he ever did.
Really?
Yeah, he did other stuff. He did like voice work for I think Hong Kong Phooey. He also was the Nightmare King in Little Nemo,
Oh.
Adventures in Slumberland.
Mm.
Yeah, weird because you can't tell. It sounds so different. He also was if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but he took over for the voice of Shredder in
Teenage
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
He did the voice of Shredder for a little bit,
That's awesome.
which was actually done by the same studio that made this film. This film. Yeah, he the same studio that did this did quite a bit of animation work during the 80s and stuff, and one of their biggest standouts would have to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon.
Interesting.
Kudos.
As
Kudos
far
for
as
making TMNT.
the animation went,
Oh,
though.
wait, sorry. Tangent jar!
Yep.
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 I owe nothing.
The animation of it, originally I thought when I looked back on it, I was going to look at it and think it looked like somebody using like Crayola markers or something like that.
Parts of it did.
It honestly,
I say
as
watercolors.
labor intensive as it was back then,
Mhm.
the animation as trippy as it is,
Mhm.
was actually kind of elaborate.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
some of the
definitely.
forest scenes, you could, you know, things would actually move, so you know
Mhm.
they're not just glass plating everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly, I was kind of impressed by some of the elaborate.
Yeah.
The animation does have some good quality to it. It stands out. It is a film that if you saw it, you'd be like, I kind of want to know what's going on.
With no sound.
Yeah, preferably with no sound, I suppose.
The sound was terrible.
It's definitely...
So much echoing on those barks.
I don't know why they were
Yeah.
putting delay on the barking and the laughing and the chattering.
That was weird. There was some
It was-
weird...
It was creepy.
There was some weird audio issues with it, I
something
will
like
admit.
echo or delay they were
Yes,
putting
it
on
is.
it. It
Yeah.
just didn't. It just ended up sounding weird.
So after... the Rock Man does actually give us some really good advice, though.
He really
which
does.
I actually thought, if you can look it up, because I'm not going to even attempt to try and re-quote it, but it's basically saying everything has a point, man. He's just this cool, chill guy. Just relax. It's okay.
Yeah.
He sounds like a
Like a
jazz guy.
man,
He does
yeah.
sound like a jazz man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And after the Rock Man, he runs into the Pointless Man keeps popping up out of
Pointless
nowhere.
Man
He's
Yeah.
and he cuts him off every time.
Mhm.
Almost all
This
of
kid can't finish a fucking sentence.
Not at all. He's like the Cheshire Cat, but an asshole.
Yes.
Cheshire Cat
Yes.
was kind of an asshole too, but this
Yeah,
guy
that
was
is true.
way
Kind of the
worse.
This
same
guy was way
thought.
worse, yeah.
Way worse. And not even cute.
No, he was just annoying.
Yeah.
But then we had that really weirred scene with the fat women.
Bouncing
Yes.
off of each
Each other
other.
and
I
him
was
bouncing on-
It reminded me of Coraline.
unnerved.
It really
A
did.
little-
really bizarre.
That-
but this, yeah.
And there's the la 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 la. That's all it was. And it was just like, ah.
So none of the characters, I think, actually had clothing in this. I don't think they drew
I don't
clothing on any of them.
know.
They did on
But
the
it seemed
Pointless
really
Man.
weird on the fat ladies. Like it was
I
even
think
more
they
weird.
had clothes, but it was.
They had
I think it was
boobs.
grafted to their bodies.
Yeah,
I think.
pretty
They
much.
Yeah.
they had boobs,
It's like
and then
no-
just like
no
giant,
washing
like
required.
giant, like red grape bodies or something.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
weird.
It was a
So
weird.
trippy.
Yeah, and then he runs into, and the whole point, like, what was the point of that? It's like, they're just having fun.
Right?
And I'm like, okay, there you go. Yeah, that was fun and trippy and whatever.
That's great.
I think you had some sort of sexual awakening there, Oblio, but whatever.
He has a point now.
Oh, yeah.
What's the voice got to say about that?
I think we're all experiencing some unknown truths coming about.
There we go. And then after the fat women, we get basically Jewish Tree.
This sounds
Yeah,
so
that's-
wrong.
It sounds horrible.
So many
It does sound
ways.
wrong,
Could be
but
Jewish.
It's,
Could be.
yeah, they,
yeah, it does sound
Maybe
really bad.
just a
But
business.
You
he
know-
sounded like the stereotypical, like
Like Shylock. Like Shylock from Venice, or Merchant of Venice. That's basically
Yeah.
what they were going for.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
the
I could
70s
see
weren't
that.
well
Yeah.
known for being
Tolerant.
as progressive as
Awkward.
times, I
Awkward
guess.
that they were trying to
Yeah.
teach tolerance.
yeah.
just
While
we got
simultaneously.
the worst
Doing that.
stereotypes ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. I mean, I got him. I'm just trying to think of like.
But pretty bad.
I'm gonna say the reason I say Jewish is because he just had that like, that's
It's
Woody
okay.
Allison.
We
Woody.
know what you're
Woody.
thinking.
Oh,
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
voiced like that almost,
Yeah.
and he reminded me of like
Nasally a little
like a
bit.
bunch of characters I've seen in movies that are, I hate to say it, they are Jewish and they
Yeah.
sound like that, and it's a stereotype, but it's
Yes.
the one they
Yeah.
went with for that.
Yeah.
And then he
Um,
runs into the bird.
The bird, yeah, the bird was good though, because, like, first of all, we're coming to the end, which was so relieving.
Oh
but
yeah.
also, the bird is where the kid finally gets to finish a sentence and finally comes to his own realizations.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool moment for the plot because that is when the kid can validate himself. He doesn't need anybody else validating him.
Very true.
And that's, I think, when he decides to go back.
And he goes
Yeah,
back.
And the weird thing about the bird is so the bird goes and picks him up and takes him to this nest, but like a catch and release fisherman, he he wasn't hungry. He just wanted to make him late for something.
Yeah.
He's like just trying to inconvenience, like, the bird's flying away, like,
Yeah, there you go. That's why I think this whole movie is just like that with you. Like, you thought you were getting something really interesting.
Yeah,
No.
that's funny.
Yeah, that was a good one though. But so after that,
He comes back.
he comes back to the village, and the count's just like, "You have no point." He's like, "Yes, I do," and the pointless force has a point too, and everything has a point. And then the count's just like, "No, you have no point," and knocks off his pointed cap he's been wearing the whole film,
And then he
magically has a point.
He grew one.
Yes.
Probably because of the fat ladies.
That's what I'm thinking. Weirdest boner ever.
Your head is showing.
Well, he feels faint.
Oh my.
And
And
Blood is
then,
rushing to, well, the same head, because apparently you only have the one, after all.
well, would that make him a dickhead then?
Yes.
I think it would.
Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. But then then the count loses his point, and all the points start sinking.
Like the yellow-bellied Sneetches from
Yes.
Dr. Seuss.
Except an odd reverse because
Yeah.
you think if they went with that route, I mean, like some people would keep their points, some wouldn't, and whatnot, but it's just like everyone loses their point, and he's still the only one who is
That-
different than everyone.
That doesn't make any sense to me. That part doesn't. At first, like, none of that. Like, great, you're round and you still have a point. Awesome, we can end the movie there. Instead, everybody else goes flaccid, and he's apparently a dickhead now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now he has to deal with yet another change.
Range that he's the only one.
Like,
Which I guess in a way you could say it's him being like everyone has a point and they're internalizing their point. His point was always internalized, but now it's showing. I guess that's what we're going
Not
with.
safe for work? Put your hat back on?
I don't know.
he does
So-
wear a hat all the time.
Yeah,
So-
safety
Tries
conscious.
to cover it.
Just to smell like
So-
Yes.
In conclusion, God. The Point, truly a product of its time, and acid. Literally.
Lots and
Lots and lots of acid,
acid.
because, and I quote, to quote
We're
the
consulting
creator
our
Harry
friend
Nilsson
Danny.
himself,
Notes here.
he had this to say about his inception of it. I was on acid, and I looked at the trees. Yeah, go figure. You're on acid, and you thought this. Whoa, mind blown right there. Never would have guessed. So I was on acid, and I looked at the trees, and I realized they all came to points. And the little branches came to points, and the houses came to points. And I thought, oh, everything has a point. And if it doesn't, there's a point to it.
We were not watching this film right.
No.
Remember, kids, drugs make you smart.
Well, they can make a great album, apparently.
Yeah.
Great albums,
Hit
mediocre
songs.
movies.
Yeah, you know.
I think that's been proven over the years.
Over the years, yes.
Drugs do make good music.
So, yeah, thank you, Keith Richards.
Yeah.
Living proof that,
Barely.
is he still alive? I mean,
He's
I know he's
always
still
going to be
alive,
alive.
but he's...
Undead, I think they
Tangent.
technically classify
Okay,
him
yeah.
now.
We're paying up for
Yeah,
that.
we're paying up for that one. Yep.
Sure. Undead is the
He will outlast the cockroaches.
yes.
Alright, so, The Point. See it with some recreational items.
And
It will make it better.
It
Yeah.
will make it much better
Yes.
and probably a lot more understandable. So,
Final thoughts.
final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts are that it had a pretty good message.
Mm-hmm.
It does let the kid figure out for himself that, validation comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to do what everyone else is doing or be like everybody else to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I like the message. I think it could have been solved in 45 minutes rather than an hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
45.
45 minutes, because this was an hour and 13 minutes, not the longest film ever, but
No.
too long with all the trippy scenes. Just like they
Oh.
could have solved it with 3 interactions instead of like 20.
You could have left out the fat chicks.
So,
Or the
Bouncing.
narration.
Yeah. Oh,
the narration, yes, please.
sorry, Ringo Starr. What was with that? Seriously.
Okay, rude.
Sorry.
I
I apologize.
No, I'm
I had to throw
joking.
that in.
I'm joking, but it could have been a lot shorter, and it would have been just fine. But overall, I do think it had a good message. I do think it was a cute film, especially for the time.
Okay.
Thoughts? Beyond what the fuck?
I was not watching this film right.
And that's all you need to know, really.
And that's the word.
And
All
the
right.
point.
Indeed.
What are your thoughts?
I actually enjoyed parts of it.
Between then and now?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I remember as a kid watching it, and I thought it was weird and interesting. I don't know what happened to the VHS I had, but overall, I thought that it had some very interesting dialogue to it. Not dialogue. It had some interesting quotes you could pull from it,
Yeah.
and it does make you think about some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you really, really need to be a little fucked up to really appreciate it more, I think.
I know I should
The
have
forced montages, yes.
Definitely. So, I think with that, your final thoughts? You mean, it's your
Honestly,
suggestion?
yeah, I mean, looking back on it, I'm tempted to say that I had crappy taste as a kid, to be frank. But
We're all guilty
I
of
think,
that.
looking at it from the perspective of the time that I watched it and the time it was created, some of the other cartoons that were going on at that time, Charlie Brown and that kind of thing, they all look dated now too.
Oh, yeah,
So
entirely.
just looking back at it, I think definitely they could have done something with the narration, like cut it out. They could have maybe gotten more to the point.
Waka waka. Have you died of alcohol poisoning yet?
They could have gotten to it sooner.
He was still talking.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, they could have
Sorry.
gotten. Sorry, they could have gotten to it sooner. But honestly, this day and age, I can't see why anybody would actually want to watch it.
Oh.
I hate to say it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You have CG. You have when you want to go on a trip, you have better
Other
options.
things, yeah.
You even have better options in terms of moral messages and moral fiber now.
Mhm. So,
Because there are no stereotypically Jewish
trees.
men
Yeah.
or something.
So, have we appeased you, oh overlording voice of reason and
Maybe
whatever?
he's gone. Why are you calling him back?
I don't know. I'm asking a question, testing the water, seeing if he's still there.
Testing. Are you sleeping?
Sleeping. Can you hear me?
what? We're still here. Oh.
Yeah,
oh.
hi.
Oh. Oh.
Hey.
Well,
Hi.
and this
It's not a
is.
coffee break.
Oh God. Is
Oh
it done?
well, you're done.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Oh, we gotta plug the next episode, but yeah, I think we're pretty much done.
Overall, we're good.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, they're all good then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we released from this nightmare? That was the point?
I think that's up to you guys. I was just a figment of your imagination.
Okay, then can you please leave? Because this is getting awkward.
We're gonna
Whoa,
be
he blew on the screen before he left. Berserk.
I need something right now.
Here.
Oh.
That didn't work.
You gotta press
smoke for you, my lady.
It's still in there.
We're just losing here. Okay, you know what? Stay tuned next time, folks. We're going to review something good, something fantastic, something called Avatar The Last Airbender. I'm Stu.
Lish!
Aaron!
I think dog.
And we're Animation Triad.
See you next time.
See you around.
I need to find a point.